Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jumper. Today I'll be doing my top 5 Pokemon themes that could be turned into Lego sets. Now, as of a few months ago, there was an announcement by the Pokemon Company as well as Lego that said they're going to be releasing Lego sets based on the Pokemon series, and that could be something quite cool to see in terms of what kinds of Pokemon stuff that we could be seeing out of this. So it could be like, Pokemon, the different types of Pokemon that we've seen throughout the years. It could be some of the towns, maybe, or something that's very, very basic to the series as a whole. And that's basically what this whole video is going to be talking about. So, yeah. So, for number 5 is Pikachu. Now, this is probably the most obvious choice, I would say, to begin with, in terms of making a Lego set, because Pikachu is the mascot of the series. He's like the most well-known Pokemon ever. If you tell people, or if you ask people what's a Pokemon, they'll probably go with Pikachu because Pikachu, he's just that well-known. And yeah, he's probably the most obvious one to do. And I think if they do make more sets based on the Pokemon series, I think Pikachu will be the very first one, and then they'll probably make some more around Pikachu. Maybe like have both Raichu and Alolan Raichu. Maybe have Pichu as well, and they could do the same thing that Lego and Nintendo did with the Deku Tree, where you could have two versions of the Deku Tree, where you could either build the Breath of the Wild version or the Ocarina of Time version. And with Pikachu, they could have the current Pikachu, like in terms of its current design, or original Pikachu, where it's just like fat Pikachu, or they could do something like that in terms of do two versions of the Pokemon, but you could build either one and then build the other. It could be something like that. For number 4 is the Kanto starters. Now, I think they could release them. I think this is more of a separate thing for the Kanto starters because I think they're another obvious choice to make a Lego set out of, because I think they are. I think they are some sort of recognizable in their own right, because you've got Bulbasaur, you've got Squirtle, you've got Charmander, and they all have their own sort of recognition in some way or another. And yeah, because you've got Bulbasaur, who's like basically the very first Pokemon in the Pokédex. You've got Squirtle, who evolves into Blastoise. It's a very, I think, a very good design in terms of standing out. And then you've got Charizard, who again, like with Blastoise, I think is very good in design and I think stands out a lot. And I think, is it like Pikachu, Charizard is also recognizable. And I think, depending on who you ask, people will probably say, other than Pikachu, maybe Charizard, maybe Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle, maybe depending on who you ask. But yeah, I think it'll be cool to see the Kanto starters being brought into Lego form. So yeah, for number 3 is the Pokeballs. Now I'm thinking that the original 3 Pokeballs are going to be made. That being the standard Pokeball, so the red and white version, then the Great Ball, and then the Ultra Ball. And I think this is going to be like a 3-for-1 in the sense that you can build all 3 of them, but separately, and you can put them all on a pedestal or podium or whatever. And you could do the thing, it could be the thing of like in some Lego sets, how you can open some part of the Lego set. Like, and it could be the same thing with the Pokeballs. So like, you could open one Pokeball, there could be a small Pikachu, or Charmander, or any of the other Pokemon. And then you can open the next one, and there's another Pokemon, and you can open the final one, and there's another Pokemon. And it could be something like that, maybe? Because that'd be something quite cool to see, and just I think it'll be adding another bit of like coolness or something to the set. So yeah, for number 2 is legendary Pokemon. Now I'm thinking that there could be like a Mewtwo set along with a Mew, maybe, or something like the legendary birds or something like that. That's kind of like where my head is at the moment, because I believe that for the first few sets, maybe if depending on how much we get out of this Pokemon series, they could be so they could start off with Generation 1 and then go to Generation 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then all the way to the current generation. And I think they could do Mewtwo first, and when it comes to like legendary Pokemon, and then they might go over to Mew, or they might do Mew first and then do Mewtwo, and also with the legendary birds, so Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos, they could do a similar thing with if they do any potential Pokeball type sets, in the sense that they could make it one set, but make them separate, and you could put them on like a podium or something like that. So, yeah, it would be cool to see some sort of legendary Pokemon in any potential set. So, yeah. And for number one is the Pokemon Center. Now, this is probably pretty much one of the most iconic buildings in the Pokemon series. I would say, other than the Pokemon Lab or the Pokemon League, I would say the Pokemon Center is pretty much up there in terms of recognition, and it'll be cool to see like just building the set and just seeing how the things come out and stuff like that when it comes to like the outside, but also the inside in terms of how it might look, because the Pokemon centers have changed throughout the years, and it'd be cool to see like maybe you could like do maybe for the inside it could like have some small changes, and like you could have like one bit that's like the Kanto Pokemon Center, another bit that's the Johto Center, or one that's Carlos or whatever, or anything that's based around the different Pokemon Centers that we've seen throughout the years. Or they could just do like one Pokemon Center that's based on the Kanto one. So, yeah, so depending on because I think the Pokemon Center is another obvious choice, and I think it'd be really cool to see how it's done and what kind of center or Pokemon Center we'll get to see. So yeah, so that's been my top 5 Pokemon themes that could be turned into Lego sets. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.